Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Meditations on a year of high karmic consequence. And I want to say the concept of three comes up so often in so many places. It's almost transcendental. The Trinity. Christians have the Trinity. There's also information theory. It makes it very relevant in the three. And when I requested the vision back when I was 16, turned 17, about the meaning and structure of all of it, I was shown and told this. The cornerstone of the material plane is a three-sided paradox. And it was a pretzel of lightning on a haze background. And why do I bring all this up right now? The question of, on this cold day, do I center and feel the peace? And am I grounding in the oneness of who I am and the joy that the Buddhists, the Buddhites, the whole 5D, higher one mind meditation, find that inner peace, transcend to the oneness of it all. Joyous. Then there's the two other perspectives that change it all up. One of them is the Jehovahite perspective that says we're in a group project that's trying to move forward to a culmination and a resolution that you could call Judgment Day and Heaven on Earth simultaneously, somehow. I don't really study the details of that because I grasp the general energy, and I've been studying the details lately, and I'm impressed how refined some of the prophecies are in there. But that's only 1/3. See, I'm seeing this as 1/3 of the perspectives. It's the Buddhite perspective, the Jehovahite perspective, and the materialite perspective is what we're dealing with in the real world of high consequence. There's high consequence personally in the 5D. There's high consequence in our collective spirit path in the Jehovahite. But there's high consequences in the material world, in the materialite version of a planet that's losing its ecological biodiversity. We're going into, definitely, it's getting, climate changes are going to be affecting all kinds of things that affect our economy. It's the economy that's going to crash. What's making us vulnerable here is how we've overextended as a human economy, overlaid over a much more bio-intelligent ecology of sustainability, and our kind of scientifically reductionally arrived at material economy that we've done as a species. It's amazing. It's it has its place. The materialites, it's a real thing. Okay, but the other two sides are real too somehow, right? And I don't want to get into this, the vision of the coming into being in the material plane that I had, which allows for these three perspectives to be valid from an intellectual point of view. If you see it, it's a question of a logic of coming into being that we all participate in, but it had a beginning, and having it had a beginning in the physical world. Oh my God. And now one of the things about these three perspectives that I'm finding amazing. Listen, I had all these visions back when I was 16, 17, and I arrived at them consciously, not from a near-death experience. And I can explain exactly how I got there. I'm trying to find ultimate meaning, and eventually you get to a place where all you really know is that you're there to look at things, including you thinking, oh, shit, I'm looking at my own thoughts. Those are kind of happening somewhat on their own. And you get way back there, and that's really where the Buddhites, describe as your observer, observing the observer. Even beyond that, you get to a place you could see your mind is kind of a biocomputer. You really can turn it loose on certain questions and kind of relax, and it'll give you the logical, reductionist or deductionist. Usually it's like a multiple choice, like it could be this, could be that, could be that. depending on some of the other parameters you didn't enter into the computation. But often enough, you can just relax about every now and then checking in on the progress, and you guide towards conclusions that make sense. But you're watching yourself respond emotionally and all this. You get to this very abstract place in the back of your mind, as if a one point of consciousness. And in Tibet, the Buddhites, higher version is before Buddha, the Tibetan Bon and Dzogchen, Bonpo, kind of shamanistic practices, but very very austere and lucid esoteric insights. Our essence is emptiness, our nature lucidity, our energy ever arising. Yeah, that doesn't explain anything, but it describes it pretty damn well. But then so that's just the Buddhites get you to your own connection to beingness. There's a logic of coming into being that brings this all together. And from that perspective, as what they call the Blue Pearl meditation, you're actually kind of watching everything from your pineal gland. And it's all, if you can get to that place where you're just pure receptive energy, your own thoughts are dancing in front of you. It's advised to be really grounded before you try this, because you disassociate. You can, like, who am I anymore? What is being a me? That's how crazy it can be. And people thought, and so that's why they don't teach this without a lot of preamble, and it's not written down anywhere. So it was surprising to the Dzogchen teachers I encountered when I was 28 or something. How'd you know about this? Well, I arrived at it. Does that mean I have previous lives? Yeah, I have seen the very detailed previous lives. I would suggest there's previous lives. And there is such a thing as a presence beyond the material plane, and that's who we are, and we have a connection to it, and that's the Buddhite and the spirit explanation, the 5-dimensional explanation, and all these people talking about all the astrology insights and a lot of other insights. A lot of, I don't know how much of the South American cosmology, that's crazy to me. I still don't get it. I think there's a lot of mushrooms involved there, but what do I know? But what I've seen is something very austere and logical, and it makes perfect sense from coming into being, and it allows for an actual Jehovahite presence, Jehovah as an individual. This comes from the Jehovah side. If you leave it to the Buddhite side, they suggest to overcome your ego. But what the hell? That's how you maneuver in the real world, in any kind of world. You need to have a perspective. A single perspective is what we are. But the paradox is that we're in a single perspective in the context of all of it is one mind. Yeah, but you can't really see it from that place. You can understand you can get to the thoughts behind and the emotional, but you're seeing it from one place. You're seeing the one mind from one place. Even there's an ego. And so the Buddhites get the logic of the one source, but they don't get the logic of individuality, which comes from the Jehovahite side in a vision I saw. And now here we are in the real world. I brought all this metaphysics up, and I meant to get practical about it, because personally, I meant to get even personal. Do I meditate, or do I get on this little soapbox and try to advance the cause? Because there's a cause to be advanced. And, as I say, the 5D one is the one that's got no friction. It's just all of us connecting to our spirit sources, and that's happening apace. I would suggest everyone tune in. And also, this is the Christian side is more about people that don't have the time it's a heart connection to the spirit energies that are in play, and big changes are happening. But they don't want to know the details. They're in a position what their role is to hold on to a higher word that somehow suggests we're going to make it. Don't worry. The big guys got it somehow. And there's a Sophia energy for real involved with all of this. The deeper understanding of all this is personal if you can get to it. But if you try to describe it like I am now, it gets so crazy that nobody would get it. So the concept of these higher forces, these ancient souls, and there's Jehovah and Sophia had something to do with the coming into being of the material plane. That's happened outside of the source itself, the one mind. So the one mind was there first. But Jehovah and Sophia are absolutely like somehow spirit over, kind of imbue the material plane somehow. Okay, whatever. What does that mean? Well, you don't have to know if you're from one of these other schools. The materialite says, you know what? The material plane and the whole cosmos is outside of all those spirit personalities and has an energy of its own. And it's intensely paradoxical if you try to figure it out. And they're doing it. That's what's amazing about the spirit, the materialite venture in our world. Somehow we have an equality of these three positions being expressed. The 5D, all of the higher wisdoms are coming right to the front. And also a lot of the physical understandings from the materialite reductionists, once you add them up to the more recent quantum understandings, that suggests that the whole physical dimension is what happens when you have infinite points of reference interacting with the connectivity of quantum. What do they call that? Everything is interconnected totally. Yeah. There's an abstract math that can describe what happens in the material plane from just the notion of infinite points of abstract conscious references. I might be going way afield here. Here's the point. All of us have a mission that, because it goes past, the Jehovahite thing is real. We're a collective planet, and we're kind of treating each other badly. And we need to fix that if we want to be good with the energies that are going to move it all forward. From the materialite side, we see all the inconsistencies that happen when you think you can run a whole economy based on everybody backstabbing each other. You end up with natural elites and everybody pointing fingers at each other because it's incentivized. It pays to make news out of. See, everybody's thinking that this is intentionally manipulating us. So, the minute you buy into a thing where it's okay to backstab and it's okay to profiteer while your community goes wanting, and it's okay to not bring back all of your energies to a context of wholesomeness and family. Once you buy into that and let it all be like for profit, but then it becomes all this finger pointing and all these incentives of glorifying conflict happen organically, and all this us versus them happens organically. And then you have an elite that sees it happening and they kind of can push it some more. So that's happening too. It's all oddly enough happening at the same time. But what happens here is that if we each of us have to pick up the slack, we each of us have a role to find our own way. This I'm telling to the Jehovites. The Jehovites don't necessarily have to worry too much if they don't be pointing fingers at the rest of us, because all three paths are valid. I'm so sorry. Now, to get to the full culmination of it, to have it all make sense, this is where they're saying the only way is through Christ. Yeah, maybe so, eh? Because the Jehovite concept is what makes it personal, meaningful, joyous. The whole Buddhite thing, you're still trying to transcend yourself. You're challenging and you're fighting yourself. But listen, the materialite thing is for real. It makes it not academic. Like, you could consider the possibility of thinking of our collective karma. No, we got to do it. It's a life and death thing. Jehovah's only saying that it's going to come to a culmination right now, and that's a fact. But we have it within us to make it work, to have heaven on earth be a real thing by solving these issues in the real world. And you need to deal with them like as economics, but there's a higher economics that involves community where we understand who we are. And there's a way to get to that. See, I brought it back to the practical. I got a minute to go. But the point is, do I hammer on this? Listen, we need to break through some of this communication gap. I'm not profiteering, not trying to monetize this. I did do a YouTube channel, and now what? Listen, we can get to making things clearer and passing on certain words. And if people that are a handful of people that listen to this pass it on to the next person. But we're needing to get into some projects where we can make a website and people can share some simple concepts. Like, I think it's permaculture farms is the foundation, but it's a complex evolution towards a community-based economy. But the principles are simple. First of all, you're not trying to challenge anybody. You're finding cooperators in the keystone projects like food, housing, maintenance of your house, different things that are essential, and other things that aren't, can take their time adapting to whatever. And one of the keystone projects is getting a consumer app that connects you to the higher logic of community-based. And eventually you're talking to Walmart, and they're going to shift incrementally, but the beginnings of this has to happen now.